Hello everyone and welcome to the Bacon Bosses podcast, Confessions of a Bacon Boss. This is where we share real stories from behind the scenes of bacon businesses. The wins, the wobbles and the lessons that you only learn by doing. We are Charlotte and Jo, two northern girls who built our own bacon businesses through trial and error, consistency and a hell of a lot of showing up. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Rain Accounting, an expert accountancy firm who support bacon businesses and small business owners to feel confident with their finances. Rain Accountant was founded by Nicole, a straight-talking accountant who understands the reality of running a business alongside real life and believes accountancy should feel supportive, clear, accessible, and most of all, not intimidating. Bacon Bosses is the community and business behind this podcast, created to support hobby bakers and bacon business owners with practical guidance and genuine support. That support also lives inside our membership, the Bake Boss Club, where bakers get ongoing help to build success on their terms. This podcast is one part of that. Honest conversations, shared experiences, and a reminder that you're not doing this alone. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Confessions of a Bacon Boss from us at Bacon Bosses. Now on today's episode we've got Jill. Jill's one of our bakers in the Bake Boss Club, so we're going to hear from her about all things business, what goes right, what goes wrong and everything in between. So before we get into any deep stuff, not that it's particularly deep anyway on the podcast, it's meant to be lighthearted and fun, but before we ask you any questions, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Jill. I live in Warwickshire. I moved here about 4 or 5 years ago from Oxfordshire. I started my business because I was baking for a few friends because it was a fun thing to do and it was re-establishing or giving me some more confidence back because I'd sort of literally been battered and bruised with a previous relationship and my self-confidence was somewhere in the pan. And I started baking to find something nice to do and it sort of grew. It wasn't a plan. It was just, I'll make a few, my other half said to me, make a few cakes for some of your friends, you might enjoy it. And it sort of developed. And then it was like, well, what people wanted to pay for it. And I knew nothing about business, absolutely zero. So I quite happily charged stupid amounts for a business. I think the first thing I ever sold, which I probably shouldn't have done, and I think it was like a lemon drizzle loaf. And I think I charged, because I didn't know anything, I charged, 10 quid. I thought, I had no idea, basically.
Yeah. Start, isn't it?
Yeah, and then after a bit, I was doing this a few times and charging, as I say, 5, 10, 20 pounds, really just to sort of think that I might have covered the cost of the ingredients, but I didn't have a clue, really. And then one of my friends who is a chef, and she also works from home, turned around and said to me, she said, Jill, you do know you're not meant to be doing this. And I said, oh, what am I supposed to do then?
Yeah. But you don't know in the beginning, do you?
No, I literally had no idea.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, I didn't know anything about packaging. I didn't know much about ingredients, knew nothing about allergies. I mean, somebody asked me to make me a gluten-free cake and I thought, well, I can use obviously gluten-free flour and stuff like that, but I didn't know anything about cross-contamination or labels nothing really. So when then I realised I had to look into it because this lady kept saying to me, Jill, you need to, you can't carry on like this. You've got to do it properly. So I sort of bundled into it and try to figure it out as I go, which I think a lot of people do. I started looking online and thinking and seeing other people who made cakes and gradually realised, right, this is what I need to do to get registered, and oh, I've got to do these courses and stuff like that. I still didn't know anything really about business or about labels or about packaging. I know a lot more now than I used to. Still learning loads. Still trip over myself. But I enjoy it, and that's why I do it. So
that's amazing. Did you have a career before bacon?
yes, I did. I worked up until the middle of COVID. I worked in the care and health sector. In a previous life, I was a nurse, which I'd stopped many years ago, and then about 15 years ago, went back into the care sector. So I was a team leader in care and nursing homes, which was, I was just about to swear then, but I won't. Let's just say it was very hard work, and a very long shift, and not paid a lot for a hell of a lot of responsibility. And obviously COVID hit, and I was working 12-hour days, and the stress was phenomenal. It was very difficult, and the pressure on top of doing the job as a manager, as well as COVID, was just phenomenal. And I found after I had a cancer diagnosis in 2017, and I had chemo and stuff like that, and my energy levels were not, they never returned to pre cancer levels. And so I was really struggling with 12-hour shifts. And it got to a point where I was making mistakes at work because I couldn't manage it. And I cut down my hours, but I was still doing 3 or 4 days a week of 12-hour days, because that was the shift pattern.
Yeah.
And in the end, I just had to walk away from it and say, I can't do this, because it was killing me. I'd get home and I would literally just fall asleep on the sofa, and I'd have to sort of get up again at 6 o'clock in the morning and start all over again. And the pressure was just out of this world.
Yeah.
So when I just stopped, and I didn't do anything for 3 or 4 months. I just stopped, and just sort of recovered myself physically. But mentally and emotionally, I was rock bottom. I just couldn't cope anymore.
God, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
in past jobs, that I've spoken to lots of people who work in the care sector, and the common theme is that people are so dedicated, and you're in that sector because you care and you want to help,
yeah,
but the pay and the hours just make it impossible, I think, for
yeah,
people to
yeah,
stay there.
yeah. I mean, I was running a unit which had up to 25 residents of various health and physical complexities, doing medication, organising staff, care plans, everything you can imagine. And the pressure, the list never went away. It was always there. And I was paid at that time, the grand total, you might fall off your seats when you hear this, £12.50 an hour.
Terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
£12.50 an hour. The care staff that worked under me were like £10.50 an hour. But £12.50 an hour for that level of responsibility, and the expectations were not like middle, they were like high.
Yeah.
And you weren't, because everything was checked up on. So a lot of it was online. So if you did something late, say with a tablet or a medication and stuff, and you got something wrong, and it was 5 minutes late or within a certain parameter, you just get pulled into the office about it.
Yeah, it's really stressful when you think that you could work in a supermarket and get a better wage.
Yeah, Well, I often thought I should go and work for Aldi, really, at that point.
Aldi and
Because,
Lidl meant to pay well, aren't they? Yeah.
yeah. So when I think back on it, and I think, oh my God, I was paid £12.50 or whatever an hour for that level of responsibility. It was like crazy, and it was killing me. And as I say, my energy levels had never been the same since my cancer treatment. So, and I'd handled my recovery from cancer all wrong. So, like, I'd had my major surgery, I'd had chemo, and then I so desperately wanted to be normal. Instead of taking time out to recover, as soon as the chemo stopped, I thought, right, I've got to go back to work, which I did. Then I had a breakdown. So, because I couldn't hack it in any way, shape or form. And I went on medication, which I still have now. I've no issue talking about it, for anxiety, because I just couldn't hack it. Macmillan were wonderful saying that.
How do you manage it with bacon now? Obviously, because you've got, various health struggles. So how does that, how is it different from when you're in that employed job to when you're working for yourself and you're a baker?
I think it's because I've got more control.
Yeah.
So I can stop. So I know, like after this, I know I'm baking. I've got some biscuits to make, but I can do that and I can pace myself. I mean, obviously there are deadlines, 5 or 6 wedding cakes this year, there are deadlines. But on the whole, I can manage it and manage my time. So, and if I feel like tired, which I do frequently, then I just have to stop. And I have to be kind to myself, because I know I can't just work a straight, constant 8 hours doing stuff. It doesn't work for me. I have to stop and start. I often find the evenings are better. I can sit here in the evening. Like last night, I was changing some bits on my website, and I can quite happily sit here for an hour or two and do that. But sometimes in the morning, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't always work. But you work out. It's I think it's knowing to be kind to myself, because if I'm not kind to me, then I can't do what I enjoy doing.
Yeah, I think it's easy, isn't it, to look online and compare yourself and see what other people are posting. So
Yeah.
you think that there's been moments where you've had to rethink what success and productivity look like for you in your business?
Yes, absolutely. Totally. I about 2 years ago, I thought I had my timings and my plan in all set in place. I'd gone through and I'd done an annual plan. I'd worked backwards. So I'd worked out exactly what I needed to earn, divided it down by 12 months, and I planned everything out. Thought, right, I need this, this and this every month. And then in the middle of that, I had an accident. Turned out I'd broken my leg, but I didn't quite realise at the time. So I spent 5 or 6 months completely off my feet, not really being able to work because I couldn't stand up. And then I had surgery after that to repair the damage that I'd done, because I'm a bit of a stubborn freak when it comes to... I'd advise anybody else to go to hospital after what I did, but not me. I
Not
didn't.
you.
Anyway, so I had massive surgery. The inside of my right leg looks like a train track. But anyway, that's by the by. And so all my plans for my business, financial plans and orders, was all going well up until that point, and then it all came to a crashing halt. Because I physically, I was virtually stuck in a chair. I was hobbling. I was in so much pain, so I couldn't do what I planned to do. The last couple of orders that I had booked in, I had to cancel because I just couldn't do it. And then by the time I had my surgery a few months later, it was like all that planning's gone down the drain. right, let's start again.
It's hard, isn't it, though? Because
Yeah,
like those things are out of your control, and I think a
yeah.
lot of bakers, when it gets to points like that, can give up really easily. But what's kept you going through the tough days?
Um, I found when I couldn't bake, I really, really missed it.
Yeah.
I describe doing my baking as being in my little happy bubble.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you both know that you can love baking and the creative side of it is fantastic, but
Yeah.
actually running the business is sort of 5 to 10% baking, and the rest of it is everything else.
Yeah.
Um, but the baking bit is lovely, and that's what I missed. And I found it a real struggle then to focus on the other 80% of the business because my head and my heart wasn't in it. It was there and it bundled along, but I really wasn't focused on it. In fact, I was completely unfocused. Um, and I didn't really know how I was going to manage. Because even though I had surgery, there was still quite a period of physical recovery. In the midst of all of that, I was diagnosed with something called myeloma, which is like a blood cancer,
Oh gosh.
um, which I'm monitored for, which is very, very low grade. So I have regular testing. So that just came up in the middle of it. But all of that really made me think, right, what do I love doing? So then I sort of decided, right, I don't like fondant. I decided. I tried fondant.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did some courses. I did a couple of courses on it and practiced. Upset one or two customers on the way because I was so rubbish. I decided that isn't for me. So that left my offering basically. So now I'm very, very explicit. I do not do fondant cakes. Don't mind fondant toppers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that is the be all and end of it all. Jill only does buttercream or ganache. That's it. End of story. I always said I didn't want to do wedding cakes because I found them too stressful.
Yeah. Same here.
But, however, I've got 5 booked in this year.
That escalated.
And
Are
I've
the
got,
type of styles that you want to do? Like, is that why?
yes, because obviously you can see, this is where you can get imposter syndrome because you can see online all these beautiful fondant covered standout wedding cakes and birthday cakes and stuff like that, and they look beautiful, absolutely stunning. I can't do them. I just can't do them. So I don't mind doing buttercream type cakes. Semi-naked is very easy to do. Don't understand it, but if somebody wants to pay for it, that's fine. Don't mind doing buttercream because I think I've perfected the smoothness, and it's gotten a lot. You know, the more you do it, the better you become.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tend to stick with designs that, yes, will push me a little bit, but are still relatively comfortable to do. So I am very picky on what I take on.
Yeah, so you should be. Did you think, Jill? I know I did when I first started baking. I thought I have to be able to do everything. I
Yes,
need to be able to do fondant, wedding cakes, and to be a baker, a real baker, I
yeah,
have to be able to offer everything. So that's how I went into it. Like, I'm gonna offer everything, and it wasn't
yeah.
until further down the line, like what you were just saying there, that I realised actually I don't. I can be as
No,
picky as choosy as I
no,
want.
no, no.
And the more picky and the more choosy you are, the better it is because that's what you get known for.
Yeah,
And brings the joy back, doesn't it? And
yeah,
eliminates
yeah.
the stress of doing all of those other things that actually you don't really want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to a stage now where I have all my confirmed stuff in my Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Right. So and I know what's on due on a certain date and what orders I've got in a month. So I can look at that before I look at if somebody comes to me, because I belong to a couple of sites where, like Bark, where I can get which I get quite a lot of work through. But I can look at my schedule and think, right, like in March, I've got 2 wedding cakes within a week of each other. So I've already decided that I won't take any more orders in March. Mm-hmm. The wedding cakes for March will be enough. So I won't do any more for March because I know that's my limit. If I try to
say no, Jill, you know, if someone comes to you and says, "Oh, can you just squeeze us in for a box of cupcakes?" Like, are you quite happy to say no? Sorry.
Yeah, because I've learnt as I've gone that you have to be able to say no.
Yeah, you do.
I have to be able to say no.
It's not easy, is it, at first?
No, it's really difficult. And on a personal level, it feels.
Yeah.
I used to feel really guilty. I don't feel so guilty now. I've developed a bit of a hard shell, so I can say no because I know I can't do my best for that customer. Yeah. And if you've got to, you know what it's like, if you've got to order stuff in, like particular toppers or whatever, sometimes the lead time for that can be 7 days. It can be 14 days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have learned to say no. And it's gotten easier, and I'm getting much better at sticking to my pricing guns. I did a quote this week for somebody, and she wanted a cake to serve 50, 60 people, 2 or 3 tiers. And she'd gotten two other quotes and came back to me and said, "Oh, but you're too expensive." And I thought, tough something.
Yeah.
Because you're not too expensive, you're just not within her price range.
Yeah. She came back and she told me what else she was quoted for a 3-tier cake to serve 50 or 60 people.
There's a maker for everyone.
And I thought, you go for it, love. That's fine by me.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just paying. Oh, it gets my goat sometimes. People say, "Oh, but it's only a cake," and I hate that phrase because it's not just a cake. It's time, it's expertise, it's experience, it's creativity. Like you guys put so much into the club. Yeah.
And if it's only a cake, go to Asda and buy a cake.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you can almost tell if somebody really doesn't want to pay. You know, you could tell. You mentioned something, Charlotte, the other day in one of your posts about, you know, people looking for a cake that's not too expensive or it's a bit cheap and stuff like that. And the moment you see that, it's just like...
That's like a big red flag, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I pay myself a certain amount way over the minimum wage, and that's what I stick to. I'm not going to drop that for anybody. I've got to make a profit. You guys have to, you know, you have to make a profit for your business. Yeah. And no, I've definitely hardened up, particularly in the last few months. I've gotten harder. Still got loads that I could do better. On that side of it, I've gotten a little bit.
It's just one of those things that you learn over time and then you develop, because it just feels uncomfortable in the beginning, sticking to the boundaries. But then you realise when you stick to them, life becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. And I think that the biggest thing is to enjoy what you do. Because I often thought the moment I stop enjoying making the cakes and whatever, then will be time to say, right, I'm going to wind this down.
Yeah.
Or take a break and come back to it. Because you hear of so many bakers who get burnt out because they're doing loads of stuff, or they're struggling for whatever reason. And sometimes you just mental health is such a big thing. You know, to take care of yourself and have time with family and friends and away from work.
Health is wealth. I think I put on my post the other day something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's so important, so important.
Yeah. Right, so we've reached the point where we talk about a confession. So obviously
Oh,
the podcast is called Confessions of a Vegan Boss, and every guest
oh.
shares a confession. So is there something that you can share with us? Maybe it's like something funny that's happened in the business, like confessing to something, or just something you've never revealed before.
Oh, confession. Oh, I think probably saying
It's
I've done
hard,
so
isn't
many
it?
things. It is because I've done stuff and said stuff, and I felt really really bad about it. Um,
I'm trying to think
I
what mine was, and I can't even remember now.
yeah yeah
When Charlotte asked me, there was things
yeah
going in my head, and I was thinking, can I say that? Can I say that? And I had to
yeah
really
yeah
think about it because I hadn't prepared myself. And then I thought, yeah, that one's all right, I'll talk about that. I might come on another day and tell some of my more darker confessions.
yeah.
No, but it is hard.
It is. I think probably I took on a cake for somebody, and it was in the shape of it was meant to be like a shark cake, for a kid's novelty thing. And
Mhm.
I have to confess, I wasn't in the best of health physically or mentally at the time, and I should have said no to it. But being stubborn as I am at times, I I thought, and I couldn't, and I thought no, because I'd earn quite a lot from it. It was a big cake.
Yeah.
Anyway, she asked for a picture of the cake. Anyway, so I sent her the picture of the cake. I can't exactly say what her reaction to the cake
Oh
was.
no.
She wouldn't accept it.
You're gonna have to find a photo of it, Jill.
It was probably one of the worst ones I've done. There was two I've done which I would never vow to do again, but that was one of them. And she saw the picture of the cake, and needless to say, I never got her back as a customer because it was it
No.
was bad. But I tell you something that I was asked to, and I shouldn't, and never again, because sometimes you take orders and you think you just got to take everything,
Yeah.
and you can't say no to anything. I was in one of those phases, and this guy got in touch with me, and he wanted a cake for his wife, and that started now. Then he said he wanted a cake. I hope nobody's eating when I say this, but he wanted a cake that looked like a cat litter tray.
Oh, God.
What on earth?
Yeah, well, the size of the cake wasn't a problem, but I hated doing it. It looked awful. He wasn't happy with it because he wanted it to look, how can I put this, more realistic. I'm not going to say the word that I'm thinking of saying, but he wanted certain elements to look really, really like they should. Let's put it that way.
Oh.
And I thought, never again. If somebody comes to me and requests a slightly weird, off the wall cake, the answer is no.
So what happened with the shark cake, Jill? Did you just go?
I just had to take it back. I couldn't. I mean,
Take
she
it?
wanted. She'd paid for it, so I had to give her her money back. It did upset me at the time, but when I thought about it a couple of hours later, I thought, oh, I think she's actually right. It was bad, and I
Sometimes you
shouldn't.
have to come away to reflect, don't you? Like you
Yeah,
really have to give it time to
yeah.
reflect because you can't reflect in the moment when you're
No,
emotional, can you?
no, because I was annoyed. My other half was a bit not happy. Let's just say. because she wouldn't accept the cake. But when I think back on it, she was right not to accept the cake. And if I'd asked myself honestly, on reflection, I would have turned down my cake too, because it wasn't what she wanted.
Yeah.
And when somebody is paying, you know, 160, £200 or whatever, something like that, at the end of the day, you know, you've got to respect that. I didn't feel that at the time. I was really annoyed with at her, but she was sort of right.
Yeah.
But it was a big. It was a very big blooper and a very expensive mistake to make.
Oh, bless you. And obviously you're allowed to feel upset about it at the time, aren't you? But I think as when things like that happen, as long as you learn from whatever it is that's gone wrong, and then whether it's that you do a better cake the next time or you decide, actually, I'm not going to take those types of orders on. As long as you can learn something, I think it's just a lesson, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't take on those, like, that was meant to be a carved cake, so I don't really do those anymore. If somebody wants, like, say a tractor cake or something like that, there are tractor cake tins. You know what I mean? There are boat cake tins, so you can get the shape without the hassle.
Yeah. See, I don't even entertain any of that hassle of baking different tins. I say to people, I do a 6-inch cake, I do an 8-inch cake, and I will decorate it with card toppers
Yeah.
to match the theme. No fondant toppers, no
No.
weird shapes. It's all the same shape cake. I'll
Yeah.
design it and I'll do the toppers on it. That's what I offer.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
cut
Yeah.
out everything that I hate.
Yeah.
I don't offer shaped cakes anymore. I say if they want, they can have round, they can have square, they can have heart shape, because I don't mind doing those.
Yeah.
And I don't mind doing like the tray bake type size, and I've done some very big ones of those. You know, the 15 by 12 ones and that sort of thing for parties. Don't mind doing those because there's like a standard shape.
Yeah.
But I don't sit there and say, oh, I'm going to give you a cake shaped like a boat or something. Although technically I could, because I've got the molds for it.
Yeah.
But
There'll be a cake maker for that type of person, though, isn't there? And then you just decide what it is that you want to do and what you can do.
Yeah. And when you see what some people can do with those types of cakes, they do them brilliantly. There's some, you know, there's some incredibly talented. I mean, you've only got to look among the baking bosses we have. There are so many talented people. I'm always envious of those ones. You know, those flowers.
Yes, yeah.
On cupcakes and do bouquets. I'm looking at those and I'm thinking, how do you do that?
I know. Like, I look at them and think, God, you need so many different colours. That's a lot of washing up. Like, that's the first thing that comes into my mind.
And all those different colours and all those different tips.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I don't know if I've got the patience for that.
No, I definitely haven't.
I've got one last quick question, Jill.
Go on then.
Can you tell us how being in the Bake Boss Club has helped you?
It has helped me because the community of bakers is so supportive. You can say anything, ask anything. You get an honest, supportive answer, and you're not going to get a brutal answer.
Yeah.
But you are going to get an answer. And usually there's always somebody who knows something.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And it's not so big with the, you know, that you don't get swallowed up with it all. Because some groups can have like hundreds and hundreds. I'm talking about the paid groups now, that, you know, you can have massive numbers of people, and then you sort of can get lost in it all. Whereas with baking bosses, you don't get lost with it, because you recognise people's names, faces, their sites. You and Charlotte are phenomenally amazing, and I learned so much from you guys. Still got so much to learn, But no, it's a fantastic community. I cannot keep up. I dip into the
I
chats
can't keep up.
and I look at that, and suddenly there's like 300 messages, and I'm thinking, where did it come from?
I
It
know.
we
takes
love
3
having
hours
you,
to catch
Jill.
up and go through everything, and I'm thinking, how did that happen?
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I think it's a good sign, isn't it? Because it shows that everyone's quite comfortable to just chat. But I
Yeah,
also like that people like if you put a question in or if you like ask somebody, oh, what do you think about this? They're not just going to tell you what you want to hear. Like they'll
yeah,
actually say, oh, well, you could do this better or you could try
yeah,
this. Like I like that part of it as well.
yeah. But you can also just go on there and say, I'm really struggling,
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
and or I'm having a bad day, or I've learnt something new today. Just thought I'd share it with you.
Mm.
I've tried
Yeah.
this for the first time. Has anybody else done this, or have I just slow to the party? Because you can usually find somebody who's done something that you think is new, but it isn't you because somebody else has done it before.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you can be appreciative of the fact that you suddenly realised how
Yeah.
to do something.
Yeah.
Like I haven't got my head around funnel sketches, Joe. I think because I haven't had the time to do it
Yeah.
properly, and I look at it and I think,
Oh, I think it
nope,
looks terrifying, Jill, when you log
yeah,
in.
yeah,
And
it
there's
does.
all these different boxes and different tabs. Even for me, and I feel like I'm pretty tech savvy most of the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Joe had logged into it all before me and set it all up, and then I looked and I was like, I don't know what to click on. I don't even know what this is.
No,
But it's just the same with anything when it's new, isn't it? You just need to like have a bit of
yeah.
time playing around.
Yeah,
It's our
I just found
listeners
it's like
that's
today.
listening.
I just found
Right.
that I could share a link from my business WhatsApp, and that I could scan it through like you can with like Instagram and Facebook. Only found that this morning by accident because I was looking for something,
Yeah.
and I was thinking, oh, I didn't know I could do that.
That's how we find out most things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do that all the time in Funnel Sketches. But for our listeners that's listening, Funnel Sketches is the platform that we support our bakers with to set up email lists and selling
yeah,
pages and basically to automate everything. Because,
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier, Jill, the bacon part of your business is only a small part. The rest of
yeah,
it is business, and it can
yeah,
take so much time. So the more of that you can automate, the
yeah.
better. And that's what we are trying to help everyone
Mm,
with the automation. But
yeah.
it can be a little bit tricky at first. But that's why we have the co-working sessions, Jill. Get on the co-working and we'll get
I
you.
think I missed the last one because I forgot it was happening, and
Yeah.
when's the next one?
So we alternate
Thursday.
them every Tuesday and Thursday, and we alternate the times between 11 o'clock and 7 o'clock so everyone can join them.
Oh,
So
right.
the next call work, oh, actually it's 8 o'clock now because at this present time, Sandy's doing them this month, isn't
Yeah,
she? So Sandy's 8 o'clock on Thursday.
I'll
Uh,
try and remember. Yes.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But they're pinned at the top of the group. We'd alternate just so anyone who's working during the day can
Yeah,
join.
yeah. I must try because every time I've gone to think, oh, I must get into that,
Yeah.
and by the time I've realised, it's already happened. So there you go.
That's what happens with life. Well, I've
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
one last question before we
go on
finish.
then. Go on then, Charlotte.
What would you say to a baker listening? Because I'm sure there will be people in the same situation who's dealing with health challenges and feels like they're falling behind.
Um, I would say something I've realised is you're not falling behind. You're going at a pace that you can go at.
Mhm.
And just because somebody else is a different pace, a faster pace, it doesn't matter. Because your health and well-being come before trying to keep up with what somebody else is doing. And your baking journey is your baking journey. It's not somebody else's. And there isn't a right or a wrong. There isn't, oh, you should go at this pace or that pace. You go at a pace that you are comfortable with, that you can manage, so that you can have life outside of baking, with family, with friends and everything else, because that's more important than running a business. Running a business is great, and I love doing it, but your health tops that, your family life tops that.
Yeah.
So it just I can look at other people in the Bake Boss Club and think, oh, they're all doing this, and I'm not keeping up, and you know. But then I really think, actually, I go at my own pace, because I know what level I can work at. I know I can't do a 10-hour day straight off. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I have to stop and I have to start. So I work within my limits.
I totally agree with that. And I always think it's interesting when people talk about falling behind, because falling behind, like, what you're comparing that to, falling behind how? You're never falling behind because you're on your own journey.
You're only falling behind when you've set your own expectations too high.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have sensible expectations, realistic expectations, then you're always going to be on the right path, aren't you? No.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a long I think it takes time to learn that, and I'm still learning it. I'm better at it now than I used to be, but I think pacing oneself is so important. It's like I set up an Etsy shop, which is on permanent holiday mode at the moment, because I know I've gone in and fiddled with it, but I have no intention of reopening it in the next few weeks, because I know I've got a lot of other stuff on. So as much as I want to get it going again, I've decided that actually, no, it's not essential. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to come back to it in a couple of months when I can give it some more focus, which I can't at the moment because I've got a lot of other orders on.
Yeah, but great that you can actually recognise that, isn't it? Like, that's.
But up until a few weeks ago, I was feeling really guilty about it in myself, and that it wasn't because anybody was telling me that, but I was just feeling guilty, thinking, oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing this.
Yeah.
And then I thought, actually, that's putting pressure on myself, which I don't need.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I thought, well,
pick it up whenever you want to pick it up. You take it off mode whenever you want. It's still there.
Yeah, it's not going to go away. I've gone in and I've updated my logo and things like that, but I'm not opening it yet because I'm going to change the offerings I've got on there. So I'm just going to leave it to sit there, and I'll go back to it in a couple of months when I've got through February and March, because I know I've got a lot on cake-wise and other stuff. And I know I need to get my social media more organised than I am. And that is more important to me than actually the Etsy shop. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, thank you for coming on and talking to us. We're at the end now, but I think just people hearing like an honest point of view from a baker who has got struggles but still continues anyway, but you just go at the pace that you can go at, that's probably really refreshing to hear, rather than constantly seeing the highlight reels of everyone supposedly doing amazing on Instagram and TikTok and all these places. Like, you're a real person, a real baker, showing how you make it work despite everything that's going on. So
exactly,
thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's been lovely, and as I say, I could talk the hindleggers off a donkey, but I won't. But no, it's been really fun and lovely just to sort of share what I do and how I do it and why I do it. So it's been great, and I love you too, by the way.
Oh, we love you as well,
everybody. I just love the Bake Boss Club. Like, I think you've done it so well.
It's a fantastic club, and you know, to have so many people in who are doing their own thing with such a fantastic community is just amazing. So
it is. I love us.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, we will be putting your social media links in the show notes, so that if anyone listening wants to follow Jill and have a look at what she offers, then have a look at the notes. You'll find it there. But this is the end of another episode of Confessions of a Baking Boss. We hope that you'll join in next time to hear the next guest. Bye.
Been brilliant. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Baking Bosses podcast. If this episode has helped or made you feel less alone, please subscribe, leave a review or share it with another baker, because it really does help the podcast and us reach more people. If you're somebody who's looking for some free support, you can find our Facebook community by searching UK Home Baking Support, Hobby Bakers and Beginners. It's a really welcoming space for bakers at every single stage of their journey, including new hobby bakers out there. You'll also find the option to leave your email so that we can send you some free resources to help you on your baking journey. And if you want ongoing support beyond that, Baking Bosses is the community behind the podcast, with our Bake Boss Club membership for bakers who want to grow on their terms. All of the links are in the show notes, and we're just really glad that you've listened to the podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.